from chapter 8 with the description of Dhruva Maharaj's activities. So in the beginning of this chapter, there is a description about the lineage of Adharma, because there is a connection with that lineage to what is being described in the upcoming chapters of the fourth canto. That's why it is also mentioned. And Maitreya Muni also wanted to close the lineage of Lord Brahma, the descendants of Lord Brahma. That's why that was mentioned. Then the discussion starts with the descendants of Swayambhu Manu's sons. In the previous chapter, there was a discussion about the daughters, Akuti, Devahuti, Prasuti. Now the two sons are being described. So since both of them went to Gurukul, one stayed back in the Gurukul of Narada Muni, the other one came home. He was made the next king after Swayambhu Manu. That was Uttanapada. He had two wives, Suniti and Suruchi. Suniti had a son Dhruva, Suruchi had a son Uttama. And Suruchi was more affectionate and favorite wife of King Uttanapada. So one day, on a casual evening or something like that, Uttama was seated on the lap of the king. He was playing with the child, cuddling him. And Dhruva, who was also like of the same age, something like that, about 5 years, wanted to sit on the other lap of the father. He was trying to climb. Suruchi, looking towards the small child Dhruva, said that, "My dear child, you don't have any qualification to sit on the throne. Sit on the lap of your father, because you have not been born from my womb. Since you have been born from the womb of Suniti, whom the king not even considers as his servant, then what to speak of considering her as his wife? If at all you want to sit on the lap of your father and lap of the king, you need to worship Lord Vishnu. With the blessings of Lord Vishnu, you should die, enter into my womb, and should be born as my son. Then you can sit on the lap of your father." So hearing these words, Dhruva was looking at his father. His father did not say anything out of fear of his wife. So crying, he went to his mother. So mother already understood with the help of the maid servants in the palace what had happened. And she was also weeping with Dhruva and taking him near to her, embracing him and trying to console him. She began to say that, "My dear son, do not find fault with your stepmother Suruchi, because whatever we do, we get them back. We might have made some mistakes in the past life, so we are simply getting them. So do not find fault with Suruchi. In fact, whatever she has said is correct. Your father does not even consider me as a maid servant, then what to speak of considering me as his wife? That is your bad fortune that you have been born through my womb. You have been raised by me. That's why you also do not receive the affection of your father. But whatever it is, whatever your stepmother said is right, that you should worship Lord Vishnu." So then Dhruva kind of asked, "So you mean to say that I should worship Vishnu so that I will die and by being born as the son of that Suruchi?" And she said, no, that is not required. Just by worshipping Lord Vishnu, Lord Brahma attained the position where Brahma is situated currently. Similarly, by worshipping Lord Vishnu, your grandfather Swayambhu Manu became Manu, attained opulences and enjoyment in the earth, in the heaven, and eventually attained perfection. Ata Apavargam, he also attained Apavarga. So by thus, it is by worshipping Lord Vishnu only your grandfather Swayambhu Manu became Manu, your great grandfather Brahma became Brahma, the creator of the entire universe. By worshipping the same Lord Vishnu, you can become much more than that of Brahma. And don't worry about me. Please go to forest and worship Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu can offer you the affection that you are receiving from me. I mean, of course, millions of affection of mothers like me, which you are receiving from me. I may be able to give only little affection, but Lord Vishnu can give the affection of millions of mothers. Tameva Vasasraya Brutya Vastalam, Mumukshubir Nugya Padapcha Padatim, Ananya Bhave Nijadharma Bhavite, Manas Savastapya Bhajasva Purusham. Even the aspirers of liberation worship the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu with the intention to get liberation. For them, it is very difficult to get it. But still, you being a child can very easily please the Supreme Lord. If he is pleased, he can award you affection of millions of mothers like me. You don't have to worry about me, worry about my affection. Please go and worship Lord Vishnu with complete dedication. Nanyam tata padma palasha lochana dukkha chidam te mrugayami kanchana yo mrugyate asta grihita padmya sriyetarai anga vimrugyamanaya. All the devatas, I am not recommending you to go to all the devatas because all the devatas are always worshipping Mother Lakshmi, hoping to receive some glance of Mother Lakshmi so that they can remain prosperous and happy in this material world. But that Lakshmi is always engaged in the lotus feet, the service of the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. Please go and worship Lord Vishnu directly. You don't have to go to any devatas. They and their benefits are very temporary. It is only Lord Vishnu's blessings can completely remove your distress. So keep the lotus feet of that Lord Vishnu in your heart and then worship him for his pleasure. If he is pleased, you will get unlimited happiness, the topmost position, etc. etc. So like that, she inspired her son Uttama, her son Dhruva, who was feeling very sorry that his father did not care him, something like that. So this is where we have stopped, and today we'll continue from verse number 24 onwards. So having heard these instructions from his mother, Dhruva immediately went to the forest. On his way, Narada Muni comes and speaks few pleasing words to test the determination of Dhruva Maharaj. So that we will see today. Maitreya Uvacha Evam Sanjalpitam Matur Akarnyatragamam Vacha Sanniyamyatmanatmanam Nishakrama Pitu Purat. Someone read the translation.
The great sage Maitreya continued, the instruction of Dhruva Maharaj's mother Suniti was actually meant for fulfilling his desired objective. Therefore, after deliberate consideration and with intelligence and fixed determination, he left his father's house.
So, Maitreya says, hearing the words of his mother, which would fulfill his desire, Artha Agamam, controlling his mind by his intelligence, Dhruva left the house of his father. So understanding that the words of his mother can remove his suffering from the core of his heart. So with that intention, he immediately left the home and went to the forest. So in the purport, Prabhupada gives an interesting instruction that all of us need to also go like that, something like that. Both the mother and the son were lamenting Dhruva Maharaj's having been insulted by his stepmother and his father's not having taken any steps on this issue. But mere lamentation is useless. One should find out the means to mitigate one's lamentation. Thus both mother and son decided to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord because that is the only solution to all material problems. It is indicated in this connection that Dhruva Maharaj left his father's capital city to go to the secluded place to search out the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is the instruction of Prahlad Maharaj also that if one is seeking peace of mind, he should free himself from all contamination of family life and take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by going to the forest. To the Gaudiya Vaishnava, this forest is the forest of Vrunda or Vrindavan. If one takes shelter of Vrindavan under Vrindavaneshwari Srimati Radharani, certainly all the problems of one's life are solved very easily. Just like Mother Suniti instructed Dhruva to go to forest and perform some austerities to please Lord Vishnu. Similarly, Prahlad Maharaj also tells his father Hiranyakashipu, when Hiranyakashipu asks, "My dear son, please tell me what did you learn in the school?" Then he says, "Gato vanam yad harimashrayeta." So, my dear father, please go to the forest of Vrindavan and take shelter of Lord Hari. That is the best thing that I have learned from my school. It's like that Prahlad Maharaj says in the 7th canto. नारदस्तद् उपाकर्ण्य ज्ञात्वा तस्य चिकीर्षितं सृष्ट्वा मूर्धनि अगग्नेन पानिना प्राह विस्मिता.
The great sage Narada overheard this news and understanding all the activities of Dhruva Maharaj was struck with wonder. He approached Dhruva and touching the boy's hand with his all virtuous hand, he spoke as follows.
Yeah. Narada, hearing this and thus understanding the activities of the boy, became astonished and touching the boy's head with his hand, which destroys all sin, then spoke to himself. So, since Narada Muni is the guru and the spiritual master of Uttanapada as well Priyavrata, he is the guru of both brothers. So he immediately understood what had happened in the palace of Uttanapada. As the small boy was going to the forest, so he immediately comes to him and touches on his head. And before speaking to Dhruva Maharaj, within his own mind, he was thinking about Dhruva. That is what is mentioned a couple of verses later. So in the purport, Prabhupada writes about Narada Muni Atrikalagnya, he who knows to the past, present and future. Just like Paramatma knows everything about us, like that Narada Muni also knows everything about us. So Prabhupada writes that Supreme Lord is present in the heart of every living entity. He knows what is required for any person. So understanding the need of Dhruva Maharaj, in the Supreme Lord inspired Narada Muni to go and instruct him in the proper means of attaining perfection. So like that. So thus Narada first spoke to himself silently. So he's speaking within himself. Couple of verses. Aho teja kshatriyanam manabhagnam amrishyatam balopi ayam mrudadatte yassamatur asadvacha.
How wonderful are the powerful Kshatriyas! They cannot tolerate even a slight infringement upon their prestige. Just imagine, this boy is only a small child, yet harsh words from his stepmother proved unbearable to him.
What power of the Kshatriyas who are unable to tolerate a slight to their pride. Manabhagnam amushyatam. Though only a boy, he has taken the unkind words of his stepmother seriously. The Kshatriyas can never tolerate insulting words upon them. So there is a contrast quality between the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas. Brahmanas can tolerate the insulting words, but they cannot tolerate bodily pain. Kshatriyas cannot tolerate the insulting words, but they can tolerate bodily pain. When there is a fight going on between two warriors, so many arrows might go into their body, but they can tolerate that pain, but not the piercing words. If somebody says something, immediately they raise their weapon and start fighting and etc. But on the contrary, the Brahmanas can tolerate the piercing words, but they cannot tolerate bodily pain because their bodies are very fragile. The Kshatriyas are like trained in the martial arts, etc. That's why there's a contrast. That's what Narada is thinking. See, he's even a small boy of 5 years. He is taking the words of his stepmother very seriously. So like that. Even as a small child, also he is not ignoring the insulting words of his stepmother. Something like that.
Brahmana's practice austerity.
Huh?
That is also bodily pain.
Brahmanas practice austerities, but not to the extent in this way. The piercing through weapons and all that much they cannot tolerate. Austerity, because they are trained in the austerities. They will eat once in a day or something like that. That austerities are okay, manageable.
Fighting one.
Fighting me both pain right. So now, having thought about the nature of the Kshatriyas like this, then Narada is going to speak. But in the Prabhupada says that all these nature is developed because of the samskaras. When the samskaras are performed with the parents, the children will develop the necessary qualities of that particular order. It is only by samskaras one develops those qualities. So in that way. So now Narada is speaking to Dhruva Maharaj. Narada Uvacha Nadunapi avamanam te sammanam vapi putraka lakshayama kumarasya saktasya kridanadishu. Hare Krishna, anyone please read the translation?
The great sage Narada told Dhruva, "My dear boy, you are only a little boy whose attachment is to sports and other frivolities. Why are you so affected by words insulting your honor?"
So Narada is saying that, my dear child, since you are a small boy attached to playing Kridanadishu Saktaya, I do not see at this time that you should feel honored or disrespected. Generally, small children, even if they are scolded, they simply laugh and continue to play. They don't take the scolding words very seriously. They hear today and tomorrow they forget and they continue as usual. So, but you seems to be not like ordinary children. What is this? You should not take the words of your stepmother very seriously. You are a small child. Generally, the children are supposed to be attached to playing. So, where are you going to the forest? So, like that. Then he continues. Vikalpe vidyamanepi nahi asantosha hetava pumsho mohan rute binna yelloka nija karma bhi. Yeah, please read the translation.
My dear Dhruva, if you feel that your sense of honor has been insulted, you still have no cause for dissatisfaction. This kind of dissatisfaction is another feature of the illusory energy because every living entity is controlled by his previous actions, and therefore there are different varieties of life for enjoying or suffering.
Here Nardamuni is saying that though opposites exist, vikalpe vidyamane api, there is no other cause of dissatisfaction except for men's illusion. Since everywhere these causes of dissatisfaction are produced by one's karma. So, my dear boy, if you think you are not a mere small boy, you are generally attached to playing. You think that you are matured enough to understand what is what. You can discriminate what is right, what is wrong. You can understand what is happiness, what is distress. But if you think you are understanding, you know the knowledge of all these things, then kindly understand this. The opposite that are like glorification or criticism, honor and dishonor, they are all are simply illusion only because things come and go as per one's karma. If you think you are knowledgeable, so the knowledge says that everything is due to karma only. So you don't have to take very seriously. So why are you taking so seriously about the insulting words of your stepmother? Verse number 28. So like that. Here Nardaman is trying to evade Dhruva Maharaj. So Prabhupada writes in the purport first 3 lines. In the Vedas, it is said that the living entity is always uncontaminated and unaffected by material association. The living entity gets different types of material bodies because of his previous karmas. If, however, one understands the philosophy that as a living spirit soul, he has an affinity for neither suffering nor enjoyment, then he is considered to be liberated person. So when a person comes to the state that one has nothing to do with the material happiness and material suffering, then one is on Jivan Mukta platform or liberated platform. So in that way. At the end, Prabhupada says that honor and dishonor are both distant only by one's previous karma. Therefore, one should not be sorry or happy under any circumstances. As per one's previous karma, if it is destined to come in the form of honor and dishonor, it will come only anyway. So anyway, it is destined to come. When it comes, one need to be disturbed by that. So something like that. Narada Muni is saying to Dhruva Maharaj. So just like his mother also told that, because everyone receives the result of one's activities. So do not find fault with the instrument. Same way Narada Muni is saying that if it is destined to come, it will come. Then what is the point in you becoming remorseful of that? So here he is giving an example of the jnanis and helping us to understand the philosophy behind it. Though opposites exist, they do not exist to the extent for the jnanis. For them, what dissatisfaction is there? What are its causes? A person becomes jnani only when he transcends the dualities of this material world. A jnani is not supposed to be affected by the dualities of this material world. So you seems to be behaving like a jnani. Though you are a 5-year child, you are by not showing any interest in the playing, you are showing the qualities of a jnani. But the jnani is never affected by the dualities. So try to understand like that. Not the saying. For devotees and karma yogis, however, opposites exist. Though they exist, the causes of dissatisfaction such as being disrespected and the persons causing that are not different from illusion. Because everywhere in the world, the causes of dissatisfaction such as disrespect and people causing it arise through individual bad karma. So then Dhruva might say that no, I am not a jnani. I am a devotee or a karma yogi. For them, dualities exist. They always go through dualities. But even for the karma yogi or devotee, the dualities are actually in one sense, they are illusory. Because the causes of the dualities are the different people and different actions are results of one's bad karma only. So do not find fault with the causes or the people who are criticizing you. You need to find fault with the bad karma of yours only. So like that, Narada Muni is saying. Who is to blame except oneself? Therefore, the discriminating devotees and karmis become free of envy. So the devotees and karma yogis who have proper discrimination, proper understanding, they will never envy anyone. Because they understand that whatever is happening to them, good or bad, is due to their bad karma. So like that, Narada Muni is trying to inspire Dhruva.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, one side question. The Gyanis, they go to the Brahman platform, right? They want to merge into the thing, the
Yes.
effulgence of the Lord. But do they have a form there? Huh?
Whatever is the form of the soul, that form they will have.
No, what is the form of the soul?
Okay, now I will tell you, I'll give you an understanding.
Huh?
So now it is already night.
Hmm.
It's summer, but we are about to begin the rainy season. Of course,
Yeah.
in Mumbai, will not make sense of it. But when you go out of Mumbai in a small remote village like GV or small village in Tamil Nadu, your hometown, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
In the night time, we can see so many stars.
Yeah.
There is a huge sky. In that huge sky, there are so many stars,
Yeah.
twinkling stars. Sometimes 15 days in the month we have moon also. Other times
Yeah.
moon will be there.
Hmm.
So, but in the daytime they are not seen.
Hmm.
The stars are nowhere seen.
Hmm.
So, if somebody says that okay, stars are there in the sky,
Hmm.
daytime, they ask where are they? Can you show me?
Hmm.
We can't show. So then
Hmm.
the people say that stars have no form.
Hmm.
Do really the stars do not have any form?
No, they do have. At night time you can see it.
Same way within Brahman also, the
Okay.
jivas, the liberated jivas will have forms. Because the
Okay.
Brahman effulgence is so high, their
Hmm.
forms are not visible.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
it's
No,
like,
I just wanted to, because when we say
ah,
we devotees, they get into constitutional position, of serving the
ah.
Lord. They, according to the rasa, they have a form and all those things. So I was thinking, Brahman platform, when they're merging in the effulgence, will they have a form or not? I was thinking.
They do have form,
Okay.
but they want to remain in trance, in
Okay.
peace or in trance. They do not want to do any activities. That's why
Hmm.
it is as good as they are not existing
Okay.
in that.
Okay. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Little louder.
Can you hear now?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah. Prabhuji, I was trying to understand when we were understanding the Narad Muni's instruction to Dhruva Maharaj that whatever happens to us is the reaction of our karma. So every action which or every bad thing happens in our life is essentially and only due to our past karmas, and we should never try to remove that grief or decrease it or think in any other possible ways, because like that then many people will keep inflicting pain on someone, and one just goes on accepting it as the reaction of my karma, or they are the instrument of my karma. Like, till what extent we should take this, like,
Actually, yeah, this is a good question. See, there are two aspects to see it. So one aspect is that when something happens to us, ideally, practically, it may not be practicable for today for us. Ideally, if something happens to us, it should be seen as it is due to our past karma. So whether I'm getting some criticism or some glorification is all the result of our past karma. For example, simple example, all of you are parents. If the children are not doing well in the school education, if they are doing well in the education, if they are doing well, they get praise. If they are not doing well, they get scoldings or criticism, something like that. So some activity which they were doing for the last 1 year or few years, as a result of that, at the end of the year, when the results come, they get some remarks, good or bad. So sometimes the past karma could be immediate past karma. Sometimes the past karma could be remote past karma, the past karma of the previous lives, etc., etc. So both these things are there. So when it comes to us, when the philosophy, when we analyze the philosophy for ourselves, we need to see it as past karma. But when we are becoming the cause on someone, cause of pain to someone, and after criticizing them, after scolding them, we should not say that I am scolding you because of your past karma. It is written in your past karma that you are supposed to get some good bashing. So I am doing the needful. So we should never do that. We should never say that. So that person may think, that person is supposed to think like that. If something bad is happening to me, it is because of past karma. That will help them not to uh, redo or recreate new karma. If somebody criticizes, the immediate response is respond similarly, criticize them back again, or react violently. That creates new karma. So if a person want to stop all one's karmas, want to get out of this material world, so not to do any karma. If something happens like this, accept it and move on. So nullifying the past karmas and not creating new karmas, so one can move on. So that is like ideal principle. This is the Shastric understanding. This is what we have read in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita also. That Sita Prajna verses, same thing is mentioned there, many places also. But to follow on this standard is very difficult. Following the standard is like the personality like Narada Tagore. When the soldiers were beating him in 22 marketplaces, he did not say anything against them. When so many other kings are also, when other people are trying to do harm him, he did not do anything. Even this first canto Bhagavatam also we see later on. Parikshit Maharaj, when he was cursed by the Stringi, he did not retaliate immediately because he was already repenting for his misdeed and he accepted it honorably and he attained perfection. So ideally, philosophically, in the core of our heart, we should have these principles. But many times, especially in the Kali Yuga, if we keep quiet, somebody harming, they will actually cause more harm. Our surrounding people are not philosophically thoroughly inclined. So when we keep calm, we don't respond. The other people will not glorify us. Instead, they take take advantage and do more harm. So it all depends on what circumstance we are in. That also matters. So it's like that. In the case of Haridas Tagore, after 22 marketplaces, even the soldiers became pity on Haridas Tagore. They prayed to Haridas Tagore, my dear sir, if you don't die, we will be killed by the king. They also understood that they also never wanted to beat because they are beating Haridas Tagore out of fear of the king, out of fear of death punishment for them. The surrounding people also could understand the nature and qualities of Haridas Tagore because they don't have any other option. So they were forced to do it. So those days circumstances are different. So even Haridas Tagore example also may not well fit in our today context. So we need to do the needful. So something like that.
Yeah, because in the scriptures, everywhere, like at various instances in Bhagavatam also we see, no, Prabhuji, that like you mentioned about Parikshit Maharaj and Indrajanya Maharaj and so many other people, they just, whenever the suffering came to them, they just accepted it without, even Yudhishthir Maharaj, when Durvasa or Duryodhana were behaving very badly with them, they never tried to, counteract or something. So they actually are living the statement what Narada is saying. But it is very difficult for us conditioned souls like us, every time. First of all, to keep control on own reactivity itself is a very big thing. And then understand what is further.
Yeah, that is true. At least we can cultivate these principles within the association of Vaishnavas. Within the Vaishnavas community, we should not retaliate violently. We should try to be calm as much as possible. Sometimes out of our immaturity, we may react immediately, but with after committing one or two mistakes, we should become careful. With the outside community, maybe to some extent we can protect ourselves, but within the Vaishnava community, we try to accept. So that will be our good only. That will be for our good.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu.
Correct. So we'll continue what Narada Muni is further saying about the same principle. Paritushyeta tastata tavan matrena purusha daivopasaditam yavat viksheshwara gatim buddha.
The process of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very wonderful. One who is intelligent should accept that process and be satisfied with whatever comes, favorable or unfavorable, by His supreme will.
Yeah, it is again seeing the hand of God in whatever happens. Then the next verse also he continues further. Atamatropadishtena yogena varudustasai yat prasadam savai pumsham duraradyo mato mama.
Now you have decided to undertake the mystic process of meditation under the instruction of your mother, just to achieve the mercy of the Lord. But in my opinion, such austerities are not possible for any ordinary man. It is very difficult to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yeah, in these two verses, Narada Muni is saying that Therefore, understanding that karma is produced by Lord's will and karma is not coming on its own accord. Karma is coming to us under the supervision of Lord's will. Somebody might say that, okay, no, I have not done bad activities in the past life. These are unnecessarily coming to me. I don't deserve. But Narada says that, no, don't say like that. Karma is coming to us under Lord's supervision only. Ishvara Gatim Viksha. Everything is happening under the supervision of Lord Vishnu. The intelligent person should be satisfied with the amount of happiness and distress received through one's karma. The intelligent person, my dear Dhruva, you say that you are not a mere boy. You know what is what. You can understand what is right, what is wrong. But an intelligent person understands that the happiness and distress comes as per one's past karmas under the supervision of the Supreme Lord. And one remains satisfied with whatever comes as per one's destiny. It is my opinion that the Lord, whose mercy you desire to attain by the process taught by your mother, is difficult for men to worship. Savai Pumsham Duraradyo. For ordinary people to worship Lord Vishnu and please Lord Vishnu is very, very difficult, not very easy. So the Prabhupada says that for a determined person it is very easy. For a person who is not determined, it is very difficult. Therefore, bhakti simultaneously is very easy for the easy, difficult for the difficult. So something like that Prabhupada says. Since this is so, one second, I'll just read through these notes, then we'll take. Since this is so, one by intelligence should be satisfied with whatever amount of happiness and distress is attained by one's own actions in one's previous lives. Understanding that karma produces results under the direction of the Supreme Lord. This endeavor you want to start is very difficult. So that which you desire to attain is very difficult, even for the great yogis. Yogena ava prurushtasi. Those people who are dedicated to perform yoga, for them also it is this attaining this perfection, pleasing pleasure of the Lord is very difficult. And you want to take it as following the instructions of your mother, you think it is very easy task? You are a mere boy, small boy, go home and play. Something like that. Okay. So, yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, many times like in Bhagavad Gita, we read the statements like Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yo Me Bhaktya Prayachati. Or means at many times, even Prabhupada says that bhakti is a very easy process. It is very easy to satisfy the Supreme Lord, chant 16 rounds properly, follow 4 regulative principles, and you're done with it. So that is a general kind of a thing. Maybe that's what my understanding is. One may not achieve the prema, but one may get liberated from the material world. So, in what perspective we should understand here when it is said that it is not very easy to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead?
My little understanding is bhakti becomes very easy for those people who have crossed the, what you can say, who have crossed the line of Ichcha and Dvesha. As long as a person having some material desires and material ambitions, practicing bhakti becomes troublesome. A person who is beyond the dualities of the material existence, for that person bhakti becomes very easy. That is my little understanding.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Prabhu. Like how the Lord says in the Ichha Dvesha Samuddhena Dvandva Mohima Bharata.
Yes, Prabhu.
Some or the other desire would still be there.
As long as desire is there, we have to struggle with those desires. When the desires are absent, our struggles also will be absent. Not Prema Bhakti platform, but at least our practice of bhakti becomes stable. Favorable desires.
Isn't bhakti only?
Favorable desire itself is bhakti desire only. I am telling about the desires in the dualities of the material world. Ichcha dvesha. From the point of view of this material world. So it's,
With bhakti, it reduces actually.
yes, for some it reduces, for some increases. We will understand ourselves better than anyone else. So it's like that. So then Narada Muni further continuing. Munaya padavim yasya nissangenoru janmabhi na vidurmugyamanopi tivra yoga samadhina.
Narada Muni continued. After
Little
trying
louder,
this process. Narada Muni continued. After trying this process for many births and remaining unattached to material contamination, placing themselves continually in trance and executing many types of austerities, many mystic yogis were unable to find the end of the path of God realization.
So why it is very difficult even for the yogis? That Narada Muni is continuing with some details. The sages, Munaya, even after searching for many births with detachment, not with attachment, with detachment, even the yogis, by attending to samadhi, by performing severe yoga, did not understand the path of Lord, did not understand path back home back to Godhead. You are a small kid, small boy. What hope is there for you? So like that, dissuading, Narada Muni dissuading the determination of Dhruva Maharaj. So in that way, he further continues. Ato nivartatam esha nirbandhastava nishphala yatishyati bhavan kale shreyasam samunu shreyatam samupastite.
For this reason, my dear boy, you should not endeavor for this. It will not be successful. It is better that you go home. When you are grown up, by the mercy of the Lord, you will get a chance for these mystic performances. At that time, you may execute this function.
Yeah. Therefore, give up this useless endeavor of yours. When the proper time comes, when you are older, you can attempt this. For a Kshatriya, maybe 5 to 8 years they stay with the parents. Then just before 8 years, they go through the ceremony called Upanayana. Then they go to Gurukul, they study. After education is over, they come home. They get married. They become the king. Especially the Kshatriyas we are discussing. They rule sufficient amount of time. When their children are also grown up, they make their children the next king. Then they go to Vanaprastha ashram. That is where they practice these severe austerities. So, my dear boy, that is the right time for you to practice these severe austerities, but not now. Now you are a mere small child. You are supposed to play. Eventually, you should go to Gurukul, study, then come back and become the king, get married, beget children, rule the kingdom. Then, after your children become qualified to rule the kingdom, give it to him, and then come to the forest. So, better go now, do all these things, and come back to the forest to worship Lord Vishnu. That time will be easy. Bhavan Yatishyati, when you become Yati, in generally Yati means sannyasi, but for Kshatriyas are not supposed to become sannyasi. Yati means here Vanaprastha. When you become qualified to enter into Vanaprastha order, that time you come back to forest again. That time you can practice severe austerities. You can please Lord Vishnu very easily. So, like that, Narada Muni is instructing Dhruva Maharaj. So now it is not right time for you. Please go home and do the needful play and etc. Gurukul, marriage, kingdom, then come. So like that. So then couple of verses. Narada Muni is going to conclude. Yasya yaddaiva vihitam satena sukha dukkhayo atmanam toshayandehi tamasa paramarchati.
One should try to keep himself satisfied in any condition of life, whether distress or happiness, which is offered by the Supreme Will. The person who endures in this way is able to cross over the darkness of nescience very easily.
Satisfying himself amidst happiness and distress with these experiences which are given to him by karma, the embodied person surpasses samsara. Here, having mentioned in the previous verse that as a child you are not supposed to practice austerities to please Lord Vishnu, better go home, play for some time, then go to Gurukul, study and come home, get married, become king, rule the subjects nicely, performing so many yajnas, charities, etc., etc., and then make your children the next king, enthrone them, then come to the forest of being taken Vanaprastha order. Then you can perform austerities to please Lord Vishnu like that. But while staying at home, how you are supposed to live? This is another instruction. He says that satisfying oneself in the midst of happiness and distress, which are due to one's past karmas, an embodied person slowly surpasses samsara. Normally, a materialistic person tries to work hard to mitigate their miseries and to improve their standard of happiness, etc. So, by the way, they are performing more karmas and they are putting themselves into more bondage. But how to become bondage? How to become free from the bondage? Here, Narada is giving the formula. He says that one should be satisfied in happiness or distress, thinking that by experiencing happiness, one's past activities are being exhausted. Whatever happiness we are getting now is the result of our previous past activities, whether the past activity that we have performed in the very lifetime or in the previous lifetimes. If we are experiencing the happiness, the past activities are removed from our quota. The results of the past activities are removed. And similarly, one should experience suffering also, which is the result of one's sinful activities. Thus, one's bad karma is also nullified. Thus, by completely clearing one's good karma and bad karma, one can be freed from one's karma and hence one's bandage, and one can become qualified to go beyond this material existence. Thus, one can tamasa paramarchati. One can go out of tamas. Tamas means the material world. This is the only way. This is the only way.
Every moment we are doing karma, the Buddha bring you never ending circle.
Shubha Shubha Phale Revam. That's what Bhagavad Gita Krishna says. One should actually.
Even in Prahlad Maharaj is come na bhogena punyam kushlena papam.
Yes. Lord Vishnu tells Prahlad Maharaj that bhogena punyam kushalana papam. You exhaust your punya by enjoying. You exhaust your papa by going through austerities and performing auspicious activities. So it's like that. That is a common principle even for Dhruva now, even for Prahlad Maharaj little later, even for us also. We need to exhaust our good karmas and bad karmas. Good karmas by enjoying the results, bad karmas by enjoying the, not enjoying, by experiencing the suffering. So thus we can actually exhaust both our karmas. Unless until we exhaust both the karmas, we are bound in this material world. Shubha Shubhe Phale Revam Mokshate Karma Bandhanat. 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita says this verse. So one need to be free from both Shubha and Ashubha karmas. वो भी नहीं करने का. By becoming a devotee, one will not create any new karmas. If we don't become devotees, we are creating new karmas. Simple example. We prepare bhoga, offer to the deities and eat prasadam. Eating prasadam is karma free. Eating unoffered food is not sin, karma, karmic food. We may say sin in relation to sinful people, it's sin, but normally also it is karma food. That food will have some implications. Do you want to become free? Same way for any activity also, That is the same principle. In order to be free ourselves from the karmas, good karmas or bad karmas, so offer all the karmas in service of the Supreme Lord. That is the definition of bhakti. 9:27, one verse before this Shubha Shubha Phalarevam. Anyone remembers? Bhagavad Gita.
Yet karoshi yadashnasi.
And then go ahead.
Tadjuhoshi yet karoshi yadashnasi. Tadjuhoshi madarpanam it comes.
It comes in between missing. So, yet karoshi yadashnashi yet tapashyasi kaunteya.
Yeah.
Yet karoshi yadashnashi yet juoshi tadashiyat yet tapashyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam. Whatever small thing we do, starting with drinking water, eating prasad 3 times a day, performing different household activities, performing our activities of livelihood, giving charities, helping others, and performing tapasya, some vows, vratas, etc., etc. Perform all those activities as an offering unto me. Tat kurushva madarpanam. Another meaning which relationship is that madarpanam, then kurushva. First offer all those activities unto me, then perform all the activities. Not perform the activities and offer the results unto me. Offer the activity, then perform. That is the definition of bhakti. Huh? How do you offer an activity?
This activity I am doing for you, Krishna.
Nah, I am not entitled for the results. That's why. You are going to office, you are earning money. From that, you are giving some money in donation. That means that kind of performance of activity is karma yoga. Offering the activity to the Lord, performing the activity as seva, and offering all the results in service of the Lord, that will be called as bhakti.
How does it become bhakti? How does doing a job become bhakti?
It can become bhakti.
How?
Yeah.
Suppose you are earning X amount of money, you give something to the donation. That is on your karma, that is bhakti.
Giving something is karma. Giving everything is bhakti.
So you are still getting karma, no?
Not like that. See, this is what is also, I have one more verse in mind. I'll quote. Even that Prahlad Maharaj section also, recently we were discussing in Jambur this verse elaborately. Shravanam, Kirtanam Vishnu, Smaranam Padasevanam, Archanam Vandanam Dasyam, Sakyam Atma Nivedanam. Iti Pumsharpita Vishnu, Bhakti Che Navalakshanam. These are the 9 principal qualities of bhakti. So how to execute that bhakti consisting of 9 activities? Iti Pumsha Arpita Vishnu, a living entity, supposed to offer these 9 activities unto Lord Vishnu. Then Kriyate, one should perform. Bhagavati Yadda. Tan Manne Adita Muttamam. I consider this one thing is best of all that I have learned from my Guru, Narada Muni. What is that best thing? Offer these activities unto Lord Vishnu, then perform. Especially when it comes to bhakti, bhakti means 9 activities. Shravanam. So performing that activity itself is for the pleasure of the Lord. So my dear Lord, I am coming to the temple to do some Shravanam, but I am coming here just to do some seva. Your seva, as part of your seva is hearing some Krishna Katha. Do something like that. So people go to movie theater for having some entertainment for their own sake. And same people, not same people, but that devotees come to temple to be part of festival. There, they are coming themselves willingly to be part of that seva of taking part in the festival, wherein there is so many activities. Shravanam is there, Kirtanam is there, Japa is there, and Prasada Sevanam is there. Like that, all the different activities. Deity worship is there. Whether we may not do, but some pujaris is doing deity worship, and we will be singing outside, standing in front of the deities and all. They are also part of Archanam. So we are doing all these activities for please the Lord or as a service to the Lord, having offered ourselves to Supreme Lord. So in these few hours, we are not anticipating some returns immediately in terms of monetary gain. When we come to temple, are we expecting some monetary gain or some so-called sense pleasure? Not like that. We are doing it as a seva. So that is bhakti. So in that way. So when it comes to our daily activities, I mean, just to help you understand, I said like that. It is not, I also don't know properly what it is. So basically, the distinction between karma yoga and bhakti yoga is activities are performed according to their psychophysical nature, according to their varna and ashrama, then whatever results come, a part of that is offered in the service of Supreme Lord. That is called Nishkama Karma Yoga. But Bhakti Yoga is the activity itself is offered to Supreme Lord, whatever is that activity performed for the pleasure of the Lord, and all the results are meant for the service of the Lord. By the way, they also enjoy the remnants. Just like we prefer in the just come, they prepare boga. They know that whatever we prepare, 100% will go to offering only. They cannot say that, okay, I will send 50% of this sweet item to the backup room for preparing the boga plate, and 50% I'll keep in my tiffin box and I'll take home. Like it will never happen like that. So, something.
As per this definition, only the brahmacharis were in the temple, they are doing bhakti. Those who are devotees who are outside, they are partially doing bhakti and partially doing karma.
Devotees who are outside, they are doing 100%. Brahmacharis are doing, brahmacharis like me, they are doing even not even 50%. It's not like that. Hare Krishna, any comments? Devotees online?
No, Guruji.
Prabhuji, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur ka one purport I've read where they say ki if you do about 24 hours, may say if you do about say maximum say about 12 hours or something devotional service, the entire activity of the day becomes a devotional activity. So how do you say that?
No, not like that. If any activity that we perform, if that activity is performed as an anga, different anga.
No, what I mean to say is brushing the teeth onwards becomes a devotional activity.
Obviously, na, without brushing, how can we go to temple hall? How can we go to kitchen? And
No. Generally itself, every activity what we do in a day becomes a devotional activity when we perform maximum number of hours in devotional service. That's, I don't know, that's what I remember reading it.
That is okay. If this activity is intended to perform devotional activity, that becomes bhakti activity. Having got up early in the morning hours, brushing our teeth, taking bath, all the other things, wearing new clothes, it is meant for us to perform devotional activities later on, after going to temple hall. Then these prior activities also called as bhakti activities in that sense, because these activities are performed so that we can engage in devotional activities. In that way. Even in Bhagavad Gita also it mentions that if throughout the day is engaged in the service of the Lord, in the night he goes to rest. In one sense, taking rest for 6 to 7 hours is, we can't say that he is doing bhakti, but it's not like that. The sleeping also becomes bhakti, because if we sleep properly today, tomorrow we can engage in devotional activities properly. So this good rest, having good rest, is a prerequisite to continue devotional activities next day. So this sleep also becomes a devotional activity. So in that way. So that is my understanding. Okay. So we have last one verse from Narada Muni. We will discuss this. Then we will have a small 5 minutes break. Gunadikan mudam lipset anukrosham gunadamat maitrim samanadan vichen natape rabibhuyate. Please read.
Every man should act like this. When he meets a person more qualified than himself, he should be very pleased. When he meets someone less qualified than himself, he should be compassionate toward him. And when he meets someone equal to himself, he should make friendship with him. In this way, one is never affected by the threefold miseries of this material world.
This is also another instruction. How should we live at home before entering into Vanaprastha and coming to forest? Of course, the context is Dhruva Maharaj, but in general for everyone. One should rejoice on meeting a person more qualified, or one should always hanker to take shelter of a person more qualified. One should feel compassion on meeting a person less qualified, and one should be friendly on meeting a person of equal qualification. If you remember in NOD, there is somewhat similar instruction. Prema, Maitri, Krupa, Upeksha. Ishwareshu, Tadadineshu, Balisheshu, Dvisheshu. Prema, Maitri, Krupa, Upeksha. Madhyama Vakta, Uttamani. So some same. This verse and that verse both are in one sense same. That person should not succumb to any difficulties. If we lead our life with this principle, we will not be affected by tapatraya. Tapatraya may be there around us, but the person will not be so much disturbed by the tapatraya. If one follow this principle, one should feel joyful on meeting a superior person and not envy one, not envy that superior person. So in this world, people in general, everyone want to be glorified, but we should feel happy when somebody is really genuinely glorified for their achievements. That will be for our good only. Otherwise, our envy toward them will burn us only. And one should feel compassion, not contempt on meeting an inferior. When somebody is inferior, in the sense, in different aspects, so we should be compassionate upon them, we should help them instead of using them, instead of exploiting them in that way. One should feel friendship to an equal, not be competitive. We should not be competitive with equals. We should always friendly with equals. If because of one's fault, one does not attain superior persons, then one should desire to attain a superior person. It is only by taking shelter of the superior person, by taking guidance for superior person, we can improve in our life. So that is the understanding. So these are the different principles. The previous verse and the current verse are different principles one should supposed to follow while living at home. After attaining proper time, one should give the responsibility to next generation and enter forest and perform all the austerities 24/7 to please the Supreme Lord. So this is the general traditional way of lifestyle. That is what Narada Muni is instructing to Dhruva Maharaj. So this is what the traditional people do. So why are you coming now, child, 5 years old, to the forest and do austerities? You cannot do like that. Narada Muni is in one sense testing the determination of Dhruva by instructing the general code of conduct for a human being. So it's like that. So we'll take a small break for 5 minutes. So then we'll continue. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much. Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So we'll continue with the 35th verse onwards. So now Dhruva replies, having heard these wonderful instructions, now Dhruva responds very strongly. Soyam samu bhagavata, soyam shamu bhagavata, sukha dukkha hatatmanam, darshita kripaya pumsham, durdarshosmadvidaistuya.
Dhruva
Maharaj
Maharaj
said,
said, please.
read Prabhuji.
My dear Lord, Narada ji, for a person whose heart is disturbed by the material conditions of happiness and distress, whatever you have so kindly explained for attainment of peace of mind is certainly a very good instruction. But as far as I am concerned, I am covered by ignorance, and this kind of philosophy does not touch my heart.
Dhruva says, this peaceful of mind, this peacefulness of mind, Shama, the complete control of the mind, which you have shown by mercy for persons afflicted by happiness and distress, is difficult for a person like me to understand. Narada told that one should be happy with whatever happiness and criticism one receives as part of one's past karmas under the supervision of Lord Vishnu. They should remain peaceful, accept both happiness and misery, and move on in their life. That's what Narada told. But Dhruva says that, so that peacefulness of mind is not possible with me. That may be for others. Others may follow your instruction. Sorry, I cannot. It is very difficult for a person like me to understand. Then what to speak of? Following. I cannot, this cannot fit in my conception. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, I am reading from third line. Material desires arise when one wants to satisfy one's personal senses. One who is ready to sacrifice anything to satisfy the Supreme Lord can be said to have spiritual desire. Material desires arise when one wants to satisfy one's personal senses. But one who is ready to sacrifice anything to satisfy the Lord can be said to have spiritual desires. Then couple of lines later, of course, Prabhupada says, Dhruva did not accept the instructions given by the great sage Narada because he thought himself unfit for such instructions, which prohibited all material desires. It is not a fact, however, that those who have material desires are prohibited from worshipping Supreme Lord. This is the essential instruction from the life of Dhruva. So Prabhupada says that, of course, a devotee do not have any personal desires. That doesn't mean that a person with personal desire does not practice bhakti. Dhruva is an example. Even with material desires also one should practice bhakti. By the way, in due course of time the desires will go away. So something like that. So why Dhruva Maharaj is saying like this, he will explain in the next verses. Atapi me vinitasya kshetram goram upeyusha surucha durvacho baner nabinne shrete hridi.
My dear Lord, I'm very impudent for not accepting your instructions, but this is not my fault. It is due to my being born in a Kshatriya family. My stepmother Suruchi has pierced my heart with her harsh words. Therefore, your valuable instructions does not stand in my heart.
With an example is explaining now. Since I am an unsubmissive disciple, avinitasya. Since I am a unsubmissive disciple or stubborn because of having an intolerant Kshatriya spirit, Kshatram Goram Upeyusha. Your instructions do not remain in my heart, which has been pierced by the arrows of Suruchi's harsh words. If the mind is peaceful, it can accept so many instructions and can follow. but the mind itself is disturbed by the Vak Banair. Samatur Vak Banair. Durvacho Banair. The words which are like the piercing arrows, they already pierced my heart. Heart is already agitated. This heart cannot accept any peaceful instructions. Why? Then example is quoted with that. Though you have given this nectar of peacefulness out of mercy to an unqualified person like me, since I have the nature of a Kshatriya, my heart has been pierced and is like a broken pot. When there is a nice pot, when you throw an arrow at the pot, heart is like the pot. Being hit by the arrow, the pot will break apart. When the pot breaks apart, any amount of water you keep, it starts leaking only. Same way, since my heart is agitated by the arrow-like piercing words of Suruchi, so whatever good instructions of peacefulness you might give, they cannot stay in my heart. They will be leaking out constantly. Therefore, your instructions do not stay in my heart. So like that, Dhruva Maharaj is kind of telling. Then Dhruva Maharaj says, with irony, Dhruva says, let the weak, cowardly Brahmanas drink the nectar of your instructions and peacefulness. Because the Brahmanas, they are not so much affected by the words. So let them continue peacefully follow your instructions. Since I am a Kshatriya prince with fierce bravery, I cannot even glance on this instruction. I cannot even look at the instruction. Then what to speak of hearing it and following it? So my dear sir, please, sorry, kindly excuse me. I am not a submissive disciple like other Brahmana disciples. I am a Kshatriya person and currently my heart is being broken apart by the sharp arrow-like words of Suruchi. Whatever instructions of peacefulness you may give, they cannot stand in my heart. So like that. Dhruva Maharaj says to Narada Muni. And then, so Dhruva Maharaj, Narada Muni asks, so then what do you want now with that piercing heart? Why you came here? Then he says, why I came here? Padam Tribhuvanotkrishtam Jigisho Sadhu Vartmame Ruvi Asmat Pitrubir Brahman Anyair Api Anadishtitam.
Lord Brahmana, I want to occupy a position more exalted than any yet achieved within the three worlds of by anyone, even by my father and grandfather. If you will oblige, kindly advise me of an honest path to follow by which I can achieve the goal of my life.
His mother told Dhruva that, Suniti told Dhruva, by worshipping Lord Vishnu, Brahma got Brahma's position and Swayambhuva Manu got Manu's position and also liberation. The same Vishnu can award this and can award much more than this. So keeping that in mind, he is asking Narada Muni. At the same time, Narada Muni already gave some instructions without being asked. So whatever instructions you give, I cannot follow. The Brahmana boys may follow. If at all you want to give me some instructions, give instructions for this. So what is that? Now he says, Padam Tribhyo Notkrushtam Jigisho Sadhu Vartmame. Oh Brahmana, oh Narada, please tell the correct method for me. Bruhi Sadhu Vartmame. Vartma means a path, a practice, a sadhana. What kind of sadhana? Sadhu. A bona fide, auspicious practices. Instruct me. Don't give me some cheating means. Give me a Vedic, bona fide, proper path, following which desiring the best position in the three worlds. Tribhuvana Utkrishtam Padam Jigisho. I want to have a position which is best in the three planetary systems. Okay? Which has not been attained anadishtam. Ana adishtam. Adishtam means to occupy. Anadishtam is not occupied. By whom? By my forefathers. Asmat Piturbi. Forefathers means neither my grandfather, my great grandfather, neither by my grandfather Swayambhu Manu, great grandfather Brahma. His family members, all of them, and also others. Anye Rapi. What to speak with my family members? Even it is not occupied by others. That means other sons of Brahma. Brahma's one son is Swayambhu Manu, who is his grandfather, and others means all other sons of Brahma. So which was not occupied by any of them. So like that. Then what do you want? Narada asks. Tell me the correct method for attaining a position attained by my father Uttanapada, who insulted me. Unattained by his father Swayambhu Manu, and by his father Brahma, and by Brahma's other sons and grandsons, teaching me that path alone. You will see my courage in attaining that in no time. So, my dear Narada, you want to see the chivalry nature of the Kshatriya? Teach me this path, for practicing which one can attain the position superior to Brahma, and see how I will attain it with courage in no time, not after long time, but in short time. That is the Kshatriya spirit. Like that, Dhruva is telling. Why Narada Muni is being asked by Dhruva Maharaj? That also clarifies. So Narada Muni might say that how can I give you that path? If you want something, if you want to attain something superior to Brahma, then you need to approach someone who is superior to Brahma. That person can give you that instructions. I myself is Anna Brahma only. Or what I can give you, what I can tell you. Like that Narada Muni might say. Anticipating that, Dhruva further continues. He says that Nunam Bhavan Bhagavato Yo Angaja Parameshtina Vitudan Atate Veenam Hitaya Jagatorkavat.
My dear Lord, you are a worthy son of Lord Brahma, and you travel playing on your musical instrument, the veena, for the welfare of the entire universe. You are like the sun which rotates in the universe for the benefit of all living beings.
Yeah. Here Dhruva Maharaj says that you, the son of Lord Brahma, playing a veena, travel like the sun everywhere for the welfare of the world. Sun also daily rises and sets in the evening, rises in the morning. He is traveling every day for the welfare of Bhuloka, Borloka, Swargaloka. Similarly, my dear Narada, son of Lord Brahma, you also playing on your veena, travel everywhere, all the 14 planet systems for the welfare of everyone. Therefore, you can instruct me for my welfare. So like that is saying. So the indirect understanding is, let my desire be fulfilled. Seeing you after leaving the house is the cause of this. So Narada, anticipating that Narada will say that, how can I help you in this regard? Then Dhruva is saying that you yourself are an example. You also left home around austerities. In the first canto we saw, Dhruva in the previous life left home and performed austerities, having gone to forest. He saw Lord Vishnu and continued austerities. He became Vishnu's eternal associate. So you are one example of that. Born from the lap of Brahma, Ankaja, you are an avatar of the Lord. Nunam Bhavan Bhagavato. Nunam Bhavan Bhagavato. You yourself as a Bhagavan, because Narada Muni himself is an avatar of the Lord. So you said that I need to take instructions from someone who is superior to Brahma. So you may say, my dear Narada, you are a son of Brahma, but actually you are an avatar of the Lord. Though appeared from the lap of Brahma, but you are an avatar of Supreme Lord. Therefore, you can give me instructions to attain something superior to Brahma. So in that way. And you are not simply the son of Brahma or anyone else. Externally, you appeared as son of Brahma, but you are actually an avatar of the Lord. And another version of this Angaja is son of Brahma. Though you are Brahma's son, you wander about 14 planetary systems playing the veena for the benefit of the world. Even though you may say, even though you are son of Brahma, still you can give me the benefit. Either way, you can do the needful. Don't present some excuses that you cannot help me, you cannot help me. Either way, either you consider yourself as son of Brahma, still you can help me because you always travel 14 planet systems playing on your Vena for the welfare of everyone. But in reality, you are actually an avatar of the Supreme Lord, therefore you can help me. So this is how Dhruva Maharaj inspired Narada Muni to instruct him a bona fide auspicious path so that he can attain the highest position. Maitreya Uvacha iti udahritam akarnya Bhagavan Naradastada Prita Pratyahatam Balam Sadvakyam Anukampaya. Yeah, please read.
The sage Maitreya continued. The great personality Narada Muni, upon hearing the words of Dhruva Maharaj, became very compassionate toward him, and in order to show his causeless mercy, he gave him the following expert advice.
नर्सिंग को कॉल करेंगे नर्सिंग उसके बाद आएगा कॉल कर आने के बाद आएगा. So here Maitreya is saying now, the great sage Narada, upon hearing the words of Dhruva and being pleased with the boy, out of mercy, gave him good instructions at that time. Then he gave good instructions, Sadhu Vartma, the bona fide auspicious path, following which Dhruva can attain the fulfillment of his desires. So now Narada speaks elaborately what to do, where to do, how to do, whom to serve, so many things. Very nice section this is. Narada Uvacha Jananya Bihita Panta Savai Nishreya Sasyate Bhagavan Vasudevastam Bhajatam Pravanatmana.
The great sage Narada told Dhruva Maharaj, the instruction given by your mother Suniti to follow the path of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is just suitable for you. You should therefore completely absorb yourself in the devotional service of the Lord.
So Narada Muni says that, so my dear son, the highest path which I recommend to you is the same that has been described by your mother. Whatever your mother said, I also instruct the same thing, that you need to go and worship the Supreme Lord. Who is that Supreme Lord? The Supreme Lord is known as Vasudeva, Bhagavan Vasudeva. And how to worship him? Worship him with concentrated mind. Bhajatam Pravana Atmana, with completely dedicated, surrendered mind, serve him or worship him. So in that way. The path recommended by your mother is the path I also recommend. That is, you need to worship the Supreme Lord, who is known as Bhagavan Vasudeva. Then, why one should worship Bhagavan Vasudeva? Dharmartha kama mokshayam yaiche shreya atmana ekam hi eva arestatra karanam pada sevanam.
Any person who desires the fruits of the four principles, religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and at the end, liberation, should engage himself in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For worship of his lotus feet yields the fulfillment of all these.
Yeah. If one desires the goal of life, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, still one should worship the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu, because worship of the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu is the only method to achieve this. Even the accomplishment of dharma, artha, kama, moksha is only possible by worshipping the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. Therefore, Lord Vishnu is supposed to be worshipped for accomplishing whatever one wants to do or whatever one wants to get. So either way. Tattata gaccha badram te yamunayastatam suchi punyam madhuvanam yatra sannidhyam nityadahare.
Dear boy, I therefore wish all good fortune for you. You should go to the bank of the Yamuna, where there is a virtuous forest named Madhuvana, and there be purified. Just by going there, one draws nearer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who always lives there.
So, okay, one should worship Lord Vishnu, whose name is Bhagavan Vasudeva, for the purpose of accomplishing Dharmartha Kama Moksha or getting any result corresponding to that. But where to worship Lord Vishnu? Wherever we cannot worship. Some holy place. Prabhupada talks about the importance of holy place. Whatever we do in general places, we get thousands of times benefit of that activity in a holy place. Because holy place is always potent by the touch of Lord's lotus feet. So in that sense. O child, good fortune unto you, Badram te. Go to pure Madhuvana on the bank of river Yamuna, where the Supreme Lord resides eternally. Where Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, whenever he appears in this place only. In Madhura Undavan area only, in the Madhura Mandala only appears. The entire Madhura Mandala is marked with the lotus footprints of Lord Krishna or Lord Vasudeva. That place is the most potent and most auspicious place. So please go there and perform your austerities. Narada begins to describe in detail the process. He mentioned Madhuvana because it is the chief of all holy places. Even Prahlad Maharaj also tells Hiranyakashipu to go to Madhuvan. There only worship Lord Vishnu. So in that way. So having gone there, how one should worship, how one should engage in the worship of the Lord Vishnu or Lord Vasudeva, the details are mentioned. Snatvanusavanam tasmin kalindya salile shive krutvochitani nivasan atmana kalpitasana.
Narad Muni instructed, my dear boy, in the waters of Yamuna river, which is known as Kalindi, you should take 3 baths daily because the water is very auspicious, sacred and clear. After bathing, you should perform the necessary regulative principles for Ashtanga Yoga and then sit down on your asana or sitting place in a calm and quiet position.
So in the previous purport, Prabhupada mentions about the 12 forests of Vrindavan, Madhura Mandal, and the Yamuna river, and so many bathing gods that are there on the bank of Yamuna. So many things. But this verse talks about taking bath. So connected to that, Prabhupada mentions of that in the previous verse. After bathing in the auspicious waters of Yamuna, 3 times a day, during morning Sandhya, afternoon Sandhya, and evening Sandhya, we should perform necessary prayers to the Lord and making an asana, sit upon it. So this pastime is happening in Satyayuga. In Satyayuga, the bona fide process of worshipping Lord Vishnu is through dhyana, meditation. So the different angas of dhyana are being presented here. So take bath daily 3 times in that auspicious river Yamuna, and then making a proper asana, sit upon it and perform dhyana, chanting the mantras of Lord's holy names in that way. Uchitani means offering suitable respects to the deity. He should do this even though he has not undergone study of the Vedas. Traditionally, the children will come to know everything in the Gurukul, having gone to Gurukul. But Dhruva has not yet gone to Gurukul. But still Narada Muni is instructing him what to do and how to do. Then, after taking bath, after making a proper sitting place, after sitting upon it, one should perform pranayama, pratyahara, etc. Other angas that are mentioned now. Pranayamena trivruta pranendriyamanomalam shanair vyudasya bidhanena dhyayena manasa guruna gurum.
After sitting on your seat, practice the 3 kinds of breathing exercise and thus gradually control the life air, the mind and the senses, completely free from all material contamination and with great patience begin to meditate on the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Giving up the impurities of the mind, giving up the impurities of the senses and life airs, prana, indriya, mano, malam, by 3 types of breathing, puraka, kumbhaka, rechaka. These are the 3 types of breathing. Breathing in, holding the breath, breathing out, again holding the breath, again breathing in, holding it, breathing out, like that. One should gradually meditate on the Lord by the best mind, guruna manasa, not with the contaminated mind. Purify the mind and then sit on the asana and then meditate. Do pranayama and meditation. It's like that. Trivruta means by Rechaka, Puraka and Kumbhaka. Guruna means the best because it has been purified. The mind, once it is purified, becomes the best mind. So then, after beginning this pranayama and dhyana, then what one should do? Prasadabhimukam shashwat prasannavadanekshanam sunasam subruvam charu kapolam surasundaram.
The form of the Lord is described herein. Lord's face is perpetually very beautiful and pleasing in attitude. To the devotees who see him, he appears never to be displeased, and he is always prepared to award benedictions to them. His eyes, his nicely decorated eyebrows, his raised nose, and his broad forehead, all are all very beautiful. He is more beautiful than all the demigods.
So, in dhyana, whom one should meditate upon? That is being described in the upcoming verses. So, in dhyana, the devotee yogi should meditate on Lord Vishnu. So, what kind of Lord Vishnu? The descriptions are there. The Lord is always inclined to give mercy. Shashwat, Prasada, Abhimukam. Lord is always favorably inclined to bestow his devotees. He has a joyful face. He has a joyful face and joyful glance. Prasanna Vadana Ikshanam. Prasanna Vadana, the face is very joyful. And Ikshanam also, wonderful glance. With graceful nose and eyebrows. Sunasam, the nose is very graceful and the eyebrows are very beautiful. Subruvam, beautiful forehead. Charu Kapolam, and is more beautiful than the Devatas. Surasundaram. His beauty is much more than that of the beauty of the different Devatas. So, in that way. Then what are the other bodily description of the Supreme Lord? Very nice description it is there. 46 verse. Tarunam Ramaniyangam Arunostekshanadaram Pranatashrayanam Ramnam Sharanyam Karunarnavam.
Narad Muni continued, the Lord's form is always youthful. Every limb and every part of his body is properly formed, free from defect. Both his eyes and lips are pinkish like the rising sun. He is always prepared to give shelter to the surrendered soul, and anyone who is so fortunate as to look upon him feels all satisfaction. The Lord is always worthy to be the master of the surrendered souls, for he is the ocean of mercy.
Yeah, this verse is there for your exam also. You can memorize this verse. Very nice verse. Whenever we go in front of the deities, we can offer this prayer. This verse is very apt verse. Tarunam Ramaniyangam. That means he has a youthful, attractive bodily limbs. Tarunam means very youthful. Ramaniya means very attractive. Angam means bodily limbs. And he also has Aruna Usta Adi Usteka Usta Ikshana Adaram. Aruna means the early morning rising sun. Red crimson color sun. Okay. So Lord's upper lip and lower lip and also his eyes are reddish like the early morning sun. Okay. And then he is the shelter of the surrendered. Pranata Ashrayanam. So the Supreme Lord is the shelter for the surrendered souls. And he is transcendentally pleasing. Drannam. He is worthy to take shelter. Sharanyam. He is the only person who is worthy to take shelter. And he is the ocean of mercy. Karuna Arnavam. These are all different qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So whenever we come to the temple, these two verses we can actually offer. Prasanna bimukam shashwat prasanna padanikshanam. Sunasam subruvam charu kapolam surasundaram. Tarunam ramaniyangam arunostekshanaadaram pranayashrayanam numnam sharanyam karunarnavam. It's like that. Oshta and Adara are the upper and lower lips. For men, those who do not surrender is the form of wealth. Sharanyam and also Pranatashrayanam. These two words indicate that for any person, whether somebody is a devotee or non-devotee, he is the only shelter because he is the only person who can fulfill our desires. So in that way. And then further continues the description of the bodily beauty of the Supreme Lord. Sri Vastankam Ganashyamam. Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, I just wanted to know, like you mentioned that we can go to the whenever we go to the temple, we can sing one of these two verses. So just wanted to know, like whenever we go to the temple, if not any other prayers, we can recite all such prayers which are expressing the beauty of the Lord at various places, because to various persons, Lord has given darshan. We are seeing from time to time the different darshan of the Lord. So all such prayers can be recited.
Yes, yes. According to one's capacity to memorize the prayers, one can offer all those prayers, no issues. That is one of the 64 items of bhakti. If you remember in the Nectar of Devotion, there are offering notable prayers, the prayers of the previous devotees from Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, especially Bhagavatam. And also one can compose one's own prayers and offer. That
That
is
is
also there.
difficult. Those which
No,
are already
if someone can do, they can also do, no issues.
okay. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Srivastankam Ganashyamam Purusham Vanamalinam Shankachakra Gada Padmer Abhivyakta Chaturbhujam.
The Lord is further described as having the bark of Srivatsa or the sitting place of the goddess of fortune, and his bodily hue is deep bluish. The Lord is a person, he wears a garland of flowers, and he is eternally manifest with 4 hands, which hold, beginning from the lower left hand, a conch shell, wheel, club, and lotus flower.
Yeah, the Lord is ornamented with the Srivasta mark on his chest, left side of the chest. He has dark complexion like the Ganashyamam, the monsoon clouds, the early rain season clouds. And he wears a garland, Vanamalinam. The garland can be for forest flowers, garland can be Tulsi Mala also. He shows 4 arms, Abhivyakta Chaturbhujam, and the 4 arms are holding Shankha Chakra Gada Padma. So this is the form of the Paramatma whom one supposed to meditate upon. And what is the further description of the form? Kiritinam Kundalinam Keyuravalayanvitam Kaustuba Baranagrivam Pita Kausheyavasasam.
The entire body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vasudeva is decorated. He wears a valuable jeweled helmet, necklaces, and bracelets. His neck is adorned with the Kaustuba jewel, and he is dressed in yellow silk garments.
He is further ornamented with a crown, Kirita, and earrings, Makara Kundala, 2 short-shaped earrings, and arm bands, Keyura, and Valayanvitam, bracelets, Keyura, Valayanvitam. And he also wears Kaustuba jewel around his neck. Kaustuba Abarana Grivam. Around his neck, he is wearing a Abarana known as Kaustuba. And finally, he wears yellow silken cloth. Pita Kausheya Vasasam.
Another verse.
Many places same description comes. It's the same description. When Lord appeared to Kardamamuni, same description came there also. Yeah, second canto also something like that. So these are many descriptions of Lord's beautiful form. Kanchi Kapala, sorry, Kanchi Kalapa Paryastam Lasat Kanchana Nupuram Darshaniyatamam Shantam Mano Nayana Vardhanam.
The Lord is decorated with small golden bells around his waist, and his lotus feet are decorated with golden ankle bells. All his bodily features are very attractive and pleasing to the eyes. He is always peaceful, calm, and quiet, and very pleasing to the eyes and the mind.
Yeah, his waist is surrounded by a belt of small bells. Kanchi Kalapa Paryastam. And he wears shining golden anklets. Lasat Kanchana Nupuram. Golden anklets. Nupur. He is pleasing to see. Darshaniyatamam. He is completely peaceful. Shantam. He is joyful to the mind and eyes. Mano Nayana Vardhanam. The mind and eyes, they increase their pleasure by looking at the Supreme Lord. And then Padmam Padbyam Nakamanishreenya Vilasadbyam Samarchatam Hritpadma Karnika Akramyatmani Avastitam.
Real yogis meditate upon the transcendental form of the Lord as he stands on the hold of lotus of their hearts, like nail of his lotus feet glittering.
So Lord further having other descriptions. Entering into the lotus in the heart of the devotees by his 2 feet, which shine with jewel-like nails, he becomes situated in the jiva and his intelligence. This Supreme Lord, when the yogi devotee meditates upon, Lord actually personally manifests there with his 2 beautifully shining lotus feet. He enters into the core of the heart, into the mind, into the intelligence, into the ahankara, into the chetana. He occupies the heart completely. So that is the result of dhyana, result of meditation. So it's like that. We'll just see till verse number 52 because this is like continuation of the same theme, and we'll stop with that. Smayamanam abhidyayet sanuragavalokanam niyate naikabhutena manasa varadarshabam.
The Lord is always smiling, and the devotee should constantly see the Lord in this form, as he looks very mercifully towards the devotees. In this way, the meditator should look towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the bestower of all benedictions.
One should with attachment meditate with great attention upon the smiling face of the Lord, Smayamanam, the greatest benedictor, Varadarshava or Varadaraj, who has an affectionate glance towards his devotees. Anuraga, Avalokanam. These are the different attributes of the Supreme Lord's personality. So one should meditate on the Lord with attachment, and at the same time, Lord is filled with affection towards the devotees. Finally, the last description of Lord's form. Evam Bhagavato Rupam Subhadram Dhyayato Mana Nirvritya Paraya Turnam Sampannam Na Nivartate.
One who meditates in this way concentrates his mind upon the always auspicious form of the Lord, is very soon freed from all material contamination, and he does not come down from meditation upon the Lord.
The mind of the devotee meditating on the auspicious form of the Lord very soon becomes filled with the highest bliss, Nivritya Paraya Sampannam, and never leaves that form, Na Nivartate. Yadgatva Na Nivartante Taddama param mama. Similarly, when a devotee meditates on Supreme Lord, when the Lord enters into the heart of the devotee, then the devotee will never go here and there. Same thing Prabhupada also writes in the purport. A person constantly engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord cannot be deviated from meditating on the form of the Lord. Worshipping the deity in the temple makes the devotee think constantly of the Lord, that is samadhi or trance. One who practices in this way cannot deviate from the service of the Lord, and that makes him perfect in the mission of human life. So this is how one should come to the highest platform. When one comes to this point, the devotee yogis does not give up the object of meditation. Na nivartate. So it's like that. So these are a beautiful description of Lord's form on which one is supposed to meditate. And in the next upcoming verses, Narada Muni will tell that he will give Dhruva a mantra, and he will also tell that how to worship the deity, how to offer bhoga to the deity, etc. etc. All the other things are mentioned in the upcoming verses, which we will continue in the next week.
So there means Lord Krishna also needs to end into worship 400.
Vasudeva is 400 Vishnu only. How did he appear in the prison cell of Kamsa? That was Vasudeva.
So there is son of Vasudeva.
He was 400 Vam.
Krishna is 2 and
Devaki requested to become like a normal child. So he became 200 small boy. That is Yashodanandan Krishna. Yashodanandan Krishna is 201.
Worshipping Lord Krishna, we should be worshipping Lord Vasudeva, 400.
Who said? We are supposed to worship Nandanandan Krishna, not Vasudeva Krishna. Where you want to go? You want to go to Madhura or Golak Vrindavan?
And why is Narada Muni telling him to worship 400?
Hey, Dhruva Maharaj is a Vishnu Bhakta.
कृष्णा को मेडिटेशन क्यों नहीं बोल रहे?
नहीं जरूरत नहीं ना उनके लिए.
Desire है ना?
Desire नहीं. He is a devotee of Vishnu, so he is given Vishnu mantra only. Hanumanji is given Ram mantra. Since you are somehow or other connected in Gaudiya Parampara, you are given this Krishna mantra. Otherwise, if you are in Sri Vaishnava, you will be given Vishnu mantra only. So it is like that. So we'll stop here. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Bhaktivinoda ki jai. We'll continue